You know, when you hear someone described as the voice of soul, sometimes it feels like, well, maybe an overstatement. But with Otis Redding, man, that title just fits perfectly.
It really does.
He gave us so much incredible music in really such a tragically short time, only 26 when he died.
Gone way too soon. But let's dig into what made him and his career just so remarkable.
Okay. Where do we start? Those early influences.
Yeah, I think so. You can definitely hear echoes of the greats like Sam Cooke.
Oh, yeah.
And Little Richard Penniman.
Right. And that connection with Little Richard both being from Macon, Georgia.
Yeah.
That seems really important.
It was huge. Redding himself said Little Richard was basically his inspiration. The reason he even got into singing professionally, called him his spark.
Wow, his spark. And you can sort of feel that energy early on, can't you? Like him winning that talent show.
At the Douglas Theater, yeah. 15 weeks in a row as a teenager.
15. That just screams raw talent and, audience connection right from the get-go.
Absolutely. And then those early days, touring with Johnny Jenkins and the Pinetoppers.
That whole story of him being the driver, too. Classic dues paying.
Totally. Putting in the work. And doing those first recordings with them, Fat Gal and Shout Bamalama, you get a little taste of what's coming.
But then comes the big break, right, at Stax Studios.
The pivotal moment. And it wasn't even his session.
That's the amazing part. He's there with Johnny Jenkins. Session ends early. They have some studio time left.
And bam, he cuts These Arms of Mine in '62. Just this beautiful raw ballad.
And that gets picked up by Volt, the Stax subsidiary. Becomes a hit, maybe a minor one at first, but it's the start.
It really lit the fuse.
Yeah.
And it cemented his place within that whole Stax Volt sound coming out of Memphis.
Yeah, that southern fried soul, as they called it. Him, right. Wilson Pickett, Sam and Dave.
Such a distinct sound. Really raw, kind of electrifying, different from what Motown was doing up in Detroit.
Oh, completely different. Motown was so polished, so produced, aiming for that crossover.
Right. The Stax Volt stuff, it just felt grittier, maybe more immediate, less processed,
Yeah, less sanded down.
Exactly. Some people say, being in Memphis, maybe closer to the sort of rural South feel and perhaps less tight control from the label compared to Motown.
Allowed for more rawness.
Perhaps. That plus the signature Stax sound, the driving bass, those punchy horns from Booker T and the MGs and the Marquis. It was just potent.
And that voice, it just soared over all of it.
It did. And tragically, it kept soaring even after he was gone.
He's sitting on the dock of the bay, released after his death, early '68. Just, wow.
Unbelievable impact. It became his only #1 single.
His only one? Wow.
Yeah, and the first posthumous #1 single in U.S. chart history. Sold something like 8 million copies eventually. It just connected.
And stylistically, it was such a change, wasn't it?
Huge departure. So much more mellow and reflective compared to the high-energy soul stuff he was famous for.
Makes you wonder where he was heading creatorally.
Totally. A glimpse of a potential new direction. And we should remember, he wrote a lot of his material too, often collaborating with Steve Cropper, the guitarist from Booker T and the MGs.
Right. He wasn't just a voice. He was a creator, which makes the way he died even more devastating.
That plane crash, December 10th, 1967, near Madison, Wisconsin.
Terrible. Taking him, his manager, the pilot, and 4 members of his backing band, the Barkays.
Just an unimaginable loss for music. Wiped out so much talent in one go.
But even after that, there was still so much music, wasn't there? Atlantic kept releasing albums.
Yeah, on their Atco label, albums like The Immortal Otis Redding, Love Man, Tell the Truth, and more hit singles too, like Hard to Handle, I've Got Dreams to Remember.
It shows just how much he recorded in that short time. A real wealth of material left behind.
He was incredibly prolific. And the recognition, thankfully, has continued over the years.
Definitely. There's the U.S. postage stamp.
Induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Songwriters Hall of Fame, too.
Yep. And a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award.
His place is secure.
You see his songs everywhere, too. On those greatest songs lists. Sitting on the dock of the bay, obviously. But also Respect.
Which Aretha Franklin famously covered, yeah.
Try a little tenderness, Shake. Rolling Stone ranked him super high on their greatest singers list, too.
As they should. And you even had things like the Grammy Museum exhibit a while back, Respect, Otis Redding and the Revolution of Soul. That title says it all, really.
A revolution in soul. He burned so incredibly bright, didn't he? Even if it wasn't for very long.
An intense flame. Thinking about his voice, that incredible mix of raw power and real vulnerability.
Yeah, that tenderness he mentioned.
Exactly. It makes me think, for anyone listening, considering that powerful voice and that blend of raw emotion and tenderness in his music, which of Otis Redding's songs do you find most emotionally resonant, and why?
Ooh, good question. There are so many to choose from. Definitely something for people to think about. Share your thoughts in the comments.